Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Before we start with our today's analysis, we have an announcement. BYJU'S Exam Prep weekly current affairs topic for today happens to be Agnipath scheme. Please do tune in on our YouTube channel from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and you will understand everything about the Agnipath scheme. What is this scheme all about? What is the controversy surrounding this particular scheme? Why are there large scale agitations and protests? In fact, number of public properties have also been burnt as well. Why is this happening? You will understand from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So please do tune in live on our YouTube channel. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says Open Network for Digital Commerce. Let us try and understand what is this topic all about. Let me explain this with the help of an example. Let's say you have to go to the grocery shop. Let's say you have to buy the vegetables or the fruit, or let's say you have to buy the biscuits. You go to the shop. This shop accepts the cash as well as the digital payment modes, but you do not have the cash. So what do? You pick up your phone, scan the QR code, and you send the money from your bank account to the person's bank account. What are we speaking about? We are speaking about the UPI. What are we speaking about? We are speaking about the unified payments interface. How does this work? In this particular shop, all that it has is a QR code. You would be able to scan this QR code and ultimately you would be able to send money from your banking account to the person's banking account. You may be using PhonePe, you may be using Google Pay, you may be using Paytm. So irrespective of which app you are using, you would be able to send the money from your account to that person's account. So in this particular case, what it depends is the single QR code, but what does not matter is the application that you are using. So what we have is one single UPI, or the unified payments interface, which is acting as an interface, which is acting as a bridge, so that you would be able to send money from your bank account to his bank account. So the UPI or the QR code is just acting as a bridge or as an interface. Why are we discussing this? Let's say for example you have to buy a cloth, or let's say for example you have to buy the shoes, or let's say you want to buy a goggles as well. What do? You go to Amazon, you order on Amazon, or you have to download this application on your phone and you have to book your order on Amazon. Or let's say you do not like Amazon, you do not find this product on Amazon. What do? You go to Flipkart, you again search for that particular product on Flipkart. So what is the present model? The present model is on the basis of platform. So you have one application. In this particular application, you would be able to search for that particular product only on that application. Let's say you have to book the taxis, you have to go to Ola, you have to book it only on Ola. Let's say you have to book a taxi on Uber, you have to go to only Uber application. Similarly, if we are speaking about the e-commerce platform, if you're looking for a clothing brand or with respect to the goggles brand, you have to go to that individual application. Similarly, if you're looking for the delivery platforms as well, you can go to Dunzo, or you have some of the other applications as well. All that you have to do is download these applications and you would be able to place your order on all these applications. That is what the current model is. Now imagine bringing the UPI, which we currently have for the payment mode system, on what is called as the e-commerce platform. So it is this bringing of the e-commerce platform similar to that of the UPI is what is called as the open network for digital commerce. As of now, in case you have to order something on Amazon, you have to download Amazon. In case you have to order something on Flipkart, you have to download Flipkart. But going forward, what we will have is an open platform where you would have the buyers on one side, you would also have sellers on one side, and irrespective of which application you have, whether it is Amazon or whether it is Flipkart or it is any other website, you would be able to have and purchase on one single platform. So that one single platform, which is initiated by the government of India, is what is called as open network for digital commerce. So what is the context? The government of India has announced the launch of the pilot phase of open network for digital commerce in 5 cities in late April, with an aim to democratize country's fast growing digital e-commerce space that is currently dominated by US headquartered firms Amazon and Walmart. Where are these pilot projects taking place? It is taking place in Delhi NCR, Bengaluru, Bhopal, Shillong as well as Coimbatore. This can also be important from the preliminary examination point of view. So what is the government trying to do? The government is trying to create an open platform where you would have the buyers on one side, sellers on the other side. These people would be able to buy a product on this very platform. So this particular initiative was announced by the Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. Now let's look into the definition. What is this ONDC? As per the strategy paper on ONDC, it is a not-for-profit organization that will offer a network to enable local digital commerce stores across industries to be discovered and engaged by any network applications. How will it work? Let's have a broader picture. The ONDC will work on a format similar to that of the UPI. Businesses as well as consumers will be able to carry out transactions over ONDC using any compatible application of their choice. Let's say you have Amazon, which you have already downloaded. You don't have to download another application like the Flipkart. So what will this interface do? This will act as an interface. So you have the buyer, so you already have the Amazon application, and you also have all the products that are served on this particular website. So the minute you give a search, let's say you want a United Colors of Benetton t-shirt, through this application, apart from whatever is reflecting in Amazon, which will be prioritized on top, you will also have other local merchants as well who will be throwing up their products onto this particular platform. So the buyer side application will help the buyer search for the product or service that they want. So if you want a t-shirt, you will search for the t-shirt. If you want any other product, you will search for that product with a single application on this platform, so that you would have all those products showcased on this very platform. Gateway will allow discoverability of all sellers in the network based on the criteria such as location, availability and other customer preferences, and the seller side application will receive buyer's requests, show the seller's catalog of goods and services, and fulfill the buyer's demand as well. So on one side, what you will have is the buyer's application. On the other side, what you will have is the seller's way, where they would be able to sell this particular product. So this will be an open product wherein all the people who want to sell their product would be able to put up their product on this platform, and ultimately what you will have is much better buying and seller relationship. What's in it for the sellers? What are the advantages? Access to more buyers. Let's say for example, as of now, if there is a person who is running one of the local shops, if this person has a product, if he has to showcase this product on Flipkart or on Amazon, what should he do? He should pay commission to Amazon, and at the same time you also have the algorithms of Amazon as well as Flipkart as well, which should give priority only to those products who have paid more commission as well. In fact, Amazon also has its own products as well. It usually showcases first when you give the search. So what is the major issue here? The major issue is some of the local traders will not be able to get the margin. They will not be able to make enough amount of profits because they have to pay more commission, and their products may not be reflected on the first page of Amazon. In this particular case, because there is an open platform, what you would have is this particular person who would be able to showcase his product, and there will be more access to the buyers. Lower cost of doing the business. When it comes to Amazon or Flipkart, you have to pay the commission as well. The commission will be comparatively more, but if you're hosting on this platform, the commission that you have to pay would be comparatively less. So lower cost of doing the business. Better discoverability of products and cost, as sellers will have access to all buyers on the network. Since this is an open platform, there will be no restrictions whatsoever, and if you are able to categorize your particular product, and if you are able to showcase this particular product, you will have much better discoverability. People will be able to discover it. But if it is Flipkart or it is Amazon, what they have is a unique source of their own algorithm. So discoverability on this platform may not be transparent, but at times it is also opaque as well. Autonomy on items, because of multiple choices for being digitally visible. So it is not just the products of Amazon or Flipkart, even the local people who want to showcase their products will be showcased on this platform. So you will have more options. And finally, more options for value chain services like logistics and fulfillment. These are some of the advantages for the sellers. What's in it for the buyers? Access to more sellers and therefore more choices. So the customers will have more choices as well. Earlier, he had restricted choices on Amazon or Flipkart. Now, even the local traders, even the local handicraft people, even the local artisans would be able to sell their products. So they have ample amount of choices, and the product which is also cheaper can be seen and the customer would be able to buy it. Better service and faster deliveries due to access to hyper local retailers. What do we understand by this? If you're ordering something on Amazon or on Flipkart, there might be a scenario where this particular product comes off from a far off place. If you're in Delhi, a product might come from Bangalore. If you're in Bangalore, a product might come from Haryana, so on and so forth. This will cost undue delay as well. But on this platform, since you have more number of local people showcasing their product, the delay may be comparatively less as well, and this will ultimately improvise the better customer satisfaction. These are some of the advantages for the sellers as well as the buyers. How will it help the small online retailers? ONDC will enable providers of niche products and services with the benefit of scale and critical mass to go online. These people who were skeptical, these people who did not go online, have now the provision to go online because they need not have to pay huge commissions to Flipkart or Amazon, because this is a platform that is being created by the government. This also democratizes the digital world by taking away the entry barriers from the large platforms. What do I mean by it? Earlier, they had to go to Flipkart or to Amazon, so these two people had the duopoly as well. And in this particular case, they need not have to go to these large companies. Instead, a platform is created. You will have the buyer on one side, and they, being the seller, would be able to showcase their product because the platform is already created by the government. If the ONDC is implemented and mandated, it would mean that all e-commerce companies will have to operate using the same processes. This means marketplaces such as Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato, etc. will have to register to the platform. As I told you initially, all these companies will be available on this platform, so they have to bring a changes in the way that they operate as well. It would help millions of small businesses go online and give a huge booster shot to small online retailers and new entrants as well, which is why we have the government of India, which basically feels this will open up new windows of opportunities for the small retailers. This is one of the initiatives taken by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and ultimately over a period of time, this ministry will check all the lacunae because a pilot project is being implemented, a council is appointed, and as and when they have issues, the same will be addressed as well. The government of India has constituted this advisory committee, and this advisory council will analyze the potential of this particular platform. In case there is a need that is required, the same will be advised to the government and suitable measures will be taken up by the government of India. Do note, we will also have challenges as well. Challenges is getting all these e-commerce platform to sign up on this very platform. We will also have issues with respect to the payment integration as well. All of these issues will have to be fixed before the actual implementation is coming into the force. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says Pakistan's economic muddling and the IMF challenge. Let us try and understand what is this article all about. The article here is speaking about the economic crisis that is unfolding in Pakistan. Let's look at the statistics. The Pakistan rupee has been falling continuously from 150 in April 2021 to 213 against the dollar on 21st of June, an all-time low. Pakistan's foreign exchange reserves have been depleting during the last 1 year. According to State Bank of Pakistan data, from 17.2 billion in June 2021, the net reserves with SPP have come down to 8.9 billion in June 2022. So what we have is the value of Pakistan's rupee is depreciating in comparison to the dollar, and at the same time every country requires the forex reserves, and the forex reserves have also depleted over a period of time. Not only that, Pakistan is also suffering on the fuel front as well. The government has already increased the fuel prices in late May and early June. Besides, the new budget has also proposed resuming the petroleum development levy as well. So Pakistan's government is also considering imposing taxes which will be called as petroleum developmental levy, if this is actually implemented in Pakistan, people may get to the stage because the prices of petrol and oil will be too much in Pakistan, citing heightened external vulnerability risk and the ability to secure additional external financing. The rating agency Moody's has also downgraded Pakistan's outlook to negative as well. So currently, what they are witnessing is grave economic crisis, and as a result, they are in talks with the International Monetary Fund to make sure that they receive some funds from International Monetary Fund. However, this is not going to be easy. For the last few months, they have been discussing with the International Monetary Fund as well, but then they were not able to get in terms with the International Monetary Fund and has not been successful as well. Previously as well, there was a lot of jingoism when it comes to Pakistan. Pakistan has said that it does not want the support of the International Monetary Fund. Instead, it has approached Saudi Arabia. Instead, it has approached China as well, but it had also neglected International Monetary Fund. But now, because they are going through some grave economic crisis, they have approached the International Monetary Fund, and the International Monetary Fund has given them certain guidelines. If Pakistan is able to fulfill all these guidelines given by the International Monetary Fund, it may in the near future also give these loans to Pakistan. So what are the conditions that are imposed by the International Monetary Fund? IMF wants Pakistan to address high inflation and the elevated fiscal and current account deficits while ensuring adequate protection for the most vulnerable. First, address the issue of inflation that is persisting in your country, bring about structural changes when it comes to the government's way of operation, address the issue of fiscal as well as the current account deficits, then we will think of giving you the loan, says the International Monetary Fund. The IMF would also not want any deviations from what has been agreed to, especially concerning fuel and power subsidies. If IMF is giving loans, what the government of that particular country has to do is it has to cater to all the guidelines given by the International Monetary Fund. In case there is any deviation that is present in that particular country in the way that it is implemented, the IMF may also withdraw the funds or in the near future may not also give the funds as well. One is to do with inflation, second is to do with fuel, third is to do with power subsidies, because Pakistan in the near future will be going through the election phase as well. So it is asking Pakistan's government not to give subsidies where it is not required. Besides, the IMF wants Pakistan to be transparent about its debt situation, including what Islamabad owes to China as part of the Pakistan-China economic corridor. So Pakistan and China have entered into the CPEC project. China is being giving lot of loans to Pakistan as well, and if you have these loans, how much of debt, how much of credit you owe to China, please put it out in a transparent way, says the International Monetary Fund. The IMF may agree to support after a few more promises given by the government, but the relief may be less than what the Pakistan would hope for. So in all likelihood, the IMF may give the loans, but this will be at the cost of implementing the guidelines and at the same time following what is required by the IMF. Now the most important question is, why is there an economic crisis in Pakistan in the first place? The first reason being the political crisis. Any country, if it has to attract investments to its country, what it requires is the political stability. But the political stability is absent in Pakistan right now. What we are witnessing is a conflict between the military as well as the government. So the government was recently kicked off, which means the Prime Minister Imran Khan was removed from this particular position and the new Prime Minister was reinstated. So what we have is a political crisis that is unfolding in Pakistan, and as a result there is decision paralysis. They are struggling to find a footing in the economy, and ultimately you also have the ousted Prime Minister who is leading rallies after rallies, attacking the government's legitimacy in the first place, and is also calling for the fresh elections. Because there is instability at the political level, no countries or even companies want to invest in Pakistan, which is why their economy is under trouble. Added to it, because the political crisis is unfolding in Pakistan, there is not much of independence given to the financial institutions. There is a lot of corruption in Pakistan, and their exports have also fallen considerably. All this has led to political crisis, resulting into multiple other issues. The second reason that we have to focus is on the inflation in Pakistan. When you consider what is happening in Pakistan, Pakistan, you have the inflation of about 4.7% in 2018, 6.8% in 2019, 10.7% in 2020, gradually decreased in 2021 to about 8.9%. It was projected to be about 7.5% in 2022, but as of now, it is at about 11.2% as well. So, because there is inflation in the market, because Pakistan is not able to control it, the second major reason for the economic crisis in Pakistan is the inflation. The third happens to be the military setup. When the country is already going through a lot of financial crisis, the military in Pakistan has awarded itself 11% in the budgetary allocation. While there is 11% allocation for the military, the other areas like education, housing, health have also received a budget slash as well. The fourth is in reference to the power crisis. Apart from the massive debt, the country is also grappling with the worsening energy crisis as well. Several towns and cities have also witnessed blackouts for several hours. In a bid to further conserve the energy, Pakistan government has also decided banning wedding functions in Islamabad after 10 p.m. as well. And finally, we have the Financial Action Task Force as well. Pakistan is also placed in the grey list as well, and we did discuss about the grey list in our last few CNAs, that if it is placed in the grey list, countries would not want to invest in Pakistan. There'll be a negative image about this particular country, and most of the other banks would not want to contribute to Pakistan's success, because they have an apprehension if the money is given to Pakistan, it may get diverted to the non-state actors and to the terrorist organizations, which is why these companies as well as organizations would not also want to lend to Pakistan, which is why Pakistan is suffering or is bleeding through the economic crisis in the present situation. To overcome this particular issue, it has sought some of the help from Saudi Arabia as well as from China. In early May 2022, Riyadh agreed to provide 8 billion. In December 2021, Imran Khan secured a 3 billion support. A similar understanding was reached in October 2021. However, Riyadh's support was not unconditional. It said that in case we have any divergent views regarding our relationship or with respect to the ties with respect to the third country, in that case, you may have to give back the money that we have given you, says Saudi Arabia. Added to it, Pakistan has also sought the help of China as well. Islamabad has been regularly seeking loans from China within and outside the CPEC project, while the CPEC project kept expanding and was projected as a panacea for Pakistan's economic problems. There are many questions over the hidden cost as well. When it comes to this project is going through Pakistan from China, as a result of which it is also going to Balochistan as well, and people in this particular region are not happy with this particular project. They have even killed the Chinese workers as well, because they believe they're taking away the Pakistan's resources at the cost of the local people. When it comes to China, they are not employing the local people. All that they're planning to do is take away the resources, build the infrastructure at the cost of the local people. So people have been opposing it. So in order to ensure that security is provided to these Chinese personnel working in the CPEC project, Pakistan has also created what is called as the Special Security Division. Because Pakistan has created Special Security Division to provide security to the Chinese people, again, it is spending too much on this particular project. On one side, it has taken a lot of debt from China. On the other side, it is also spending for the security of the Chinese personnel as well. Now, let's look at another angle. China had entered into Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is suffering. China had given loans to Nepal. Nepal is suffering, and China had given loans to multiple other countries in Africa. Those people have been suffering, and China is now giving loans to Pakistan. Pakistan is also suffering. So what we have is a debt trap diplomacy. And if you look into the Pakistan's economic survey for the year 2021 and 22, their current debt with respect to China is as much as $87.7 billion. So China is indirectly contributing to this economic crisis as well. How will this economic crisis impact India? We have to look at the positive side as well as the negative side as well. When we look at the positive side, we have the government in Pakistan, which has given a go ahead for the appointment of Trade Minister in its New Delhi's High Commission, which will work to restore trade between the neighboring countries. But we also have the negative side as well. If Pakistan is taking a lot of money from China, whatever China says, China will be influencing Pakistan, and this could have security repercussions to India as well. On one side, they are planning to restore the trade relationship with India because they have the economic crisis. On the other side, because they're taking money from China, they may listen to China, and ultimately what we will have is a security related issues. Will Pakistan go the Sri Lankan way? There are similar situations in Sri Lanka as well as in Pakistan. The falling value of rupee, declining foreign exchange, differences with the International Monetary Fund, raising fuel prices as well, and there are people who are protesting in both the countries. There are power crisis in Pakistan as well as in Sri Lanka, and all these countries that we just discussed within South Asia are facing a major economic crisis. But one advantage is for Pakistan, they have governments which are also questioned, but in Sri Lanka they had a family politics in the form of Rajapaksa government. So in all likelihood, because there is a lot of questioning as well, Pakistan may survive. If it does not reform, it may go the Sri Lankan way, is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article says a turning point for Ukraine and its women's rights. The article here is speaking about the Istanbul Convention. The article also speaks about what is called as the Council of Europe. Let us try and understand what is this Council of Europe as well as the Istanbul Convention. First, let us understand what is this Council of Europe. The Council of Europe happens to be an international organization founded in the wake of World War II to uphold human rights, democracy and rule of law in Europe. What exactly happens? Does it have laws? No. Does it have any of the laws which it has to implement? No. What it does is there are some international agreements, there are some international human rights laws, there are human rights laws in Europe as well. These laws will have to be implemented. So the Council of Europe does not have laws of its own, but it ensures that the international agreements with respect to human rights are implemented in that particular country. The best known body of the Council of Europe is the European Court of Human Rights, which functions on the basis of European Convention on Human Rights. The Council of Europe was signed into existence on 5th of May 1949 by the Treaty of London. The headquarters of Council of Europe as well as its Court of Human Rights are situated in Strasbourg, France. English and French are its official languages, and the Council of Europe is an official United Nations observer. These can be very important from the preliminary examination point of view. Then what we have is the Istanbul Convention. So the Council of Europe established this Istanbul Convention, which happens to be a human rights treaty with the aim to prevent and prosecute all types of violence against the women. Basically, it wants to promote gender equality and also ensure protection and rehabilitation for the women who have been the victims of violence. So what are the provisions of the Istanbul Convention? The state has the responsibility to prevent all forms of violence against women, protect those who experience it and prosecute perpetrators. The state must promote equality between men and women and prevent violence against women by encouraging mutual respect or non-violent conflict resolution and questioning gender stereotypes, including through teaching materials in school. The state must investigate allegations of violence and prosecute perpetrators. The state must protect and support those who experience violence. The state must ensure that the victims can claim compensation. The state must ensure a coordinated approach among all relevant agencies, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to support those who experience violence and protect them. Those who experience violence should have information and access to support services such as 24/7 telephone helplines, rape crisis centers, counseling as well as shelters, and civil society plays an important role in providing essential services to those who experience violence, raising awareness about the gender violence, helping bring a change in the attitude of the persons as well as the cultural changes as well. These are some of the provisions that are present in the Istanbul Convention, and this was opened up to the signature back in the year 2011, and Turkey became the first country to become part of this this convention back in the year 2012, and at the same time Turkey also becomes the same country in the year 2021 which withdraws from this convention. So remember, Turkey became the first country to ratify this convention, and Turkey became the first and only country to withdraw from this convention. This can also be important from the preliminary examination point of view. Why are we discussing this? That is because we have the Ukrainian parliament which has passed a bill on June 20th ratifying the Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence. This is also known as the Istanbul Convention. When you look into the present situation, what we have is Russian invasion of Ukraine. During this particular crisis, there are few reports which also say that rape has been used by the Russian soldiers in order to perpetuate violence in certain parts in Ukraine. So women and girls were assaulted in number of places. They were disproportionately affected by the war as well. So what we have is violence perpetuated against the women. In order to make sure that they are safeguarded, their rights are safeguarded, in order to protect the women in Ukraine, what they have signed is the Istanbul Convention. So what is the significance? Going forward, they'll be able to deal with atrocities and serve to reassure the survivors some of the justice and the protocols as envisioned under this particular convention. With the signing of this convention, they are not only making sure that gender violence is prevented, but at the same time Ukraine will also have the European integration as well, and Ukraine will also get closer to other countries which are also part of this convention. But there are few challenges as well. Currently Russia has invaded Ukraine. Ukraine has spent a lot of money on the war as well. Currently they do not have the financial resources, and that will be a major challenge for the executing of this convention. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says the problems plaguing thermal power generators. Let us try and understand what is this article all about. On June 10th, India's power demand touched a record high of 211 megawatts, even as the coal shortage continued with coal stocks available only for 8 days. In the last 2 months, as temperatures soared and the economy recovered, the power demand breached the 200 megawatt level on several occasions. But the coal stock position at the power plants remained worrisome. We have discussed about the issues of coal in India. What this article currently goes on to say is that India has been facing the power crisis because of the shortage of the coal. So the domestic production of coal has stagnated between financial year 18 and financial year 21. The power demand during this period has surged. The temperatures have been increasing. Climate change has also induced more temperature as well. So people are consuming a lot of power, but we do not have enough amount of coal. Usually when the domestic production does not meet the expected demand, what does the country do? The country will have to import from some other country, but we were not able to import as well. That is because of the skyrocketing prices in the international market. So the price of the imported coal is nearly 5 to 6 times higher than the domestic supply. And if we import from the international market, and if we are able to generate electricity from this coal imported from the external market, this means that the price of the power will also increase, and ultimately it is the customer who has to bear the brunt of it. So remember, when it comes to the distribution companies, according to the 2019-20 report by the Power Finance Corporation, discoms had accumulated losses of up to 5.7 lakh crore and were therefore unable to pay the generators on time. So when it comes to the powers, what we have is the generating outfit. Then what we also have is the discoms which will be distributing these power to the customers. These discoms which procure the power from the generating utilities are not able to pay back as well. That is because the revenue they generate is much lower than their cost, and there is also delay in the compensation from the government, all resulting in losses for the discoms. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the mains practice questions. The Open Network for Digital Commerce platform aims to create new opportunities and curb digital monopolies. Comment. Discuss the possible reasons for worsening economic crisis in Pakistan. Please write all your answers on the comment section, peer review, and do give positive feedback to your friends' answers. In case you wish to upload an image, you can visit our website and upload the image and also discuss with your fellow aspirants. This is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.